With the thing going on in the Ukraine, do you honestly think that we're headed towards a nuclear war?
If we push it too far, yes.
You do?
But I think it can be avoided.
Do you think we need to get Biden out of the office and get all the Democrats out and get someone that is more, I don't know, I don't want to say more like Trump, but maybe more like a DeSantis type person that would, do you think that type of person would be able to handle it better?
Well, to answer that question, it's more than just the president. He has military advisors too. He just doesn't do this because, oh, I think I'd like to do this. He's under constraints as well. But yes, I think we should have a new president.
Do you think Biden is mentally competent?
He must be fairly mentally. Look at all the pressure that's on that guy.
You don't think that he could have people just propping him up?
Oh, sure he does. That's part of the why he has advisors.
You don't think that he's just a senile old man that's...
No, I do not think that. I don't think he could do all that travel and stuff if he were. No, and I do think he sincerely wants to avoid war. And if you think of the alternative, why would you want a war when it's going to be nuclear, no doubt, or even worse, chemical? They're talking now about chemical warfare. It's been chemical warfare happened in World War One.
Really? It did?
Germans, yes.
What did they do back then?
Well, the chemical, I don't know what they used, but it disabled a lot of them. Uncle Garrett, you remember Uncle Garrett?
No, I never met him.
Aunt Maggie?
Oh, heck yeah, Aunt Maggie.
Well, Uncle Garrett was her husband.
Well, yeah.
He was in World War One. They used horses then, and he loved horses.
I remember I have one of his bridles.
Okay. Yeah.
Somewhere, I think.
Anyway, he loved horses, and he took care of the horses, and that was his duty in World War One. And then he talked about chemical warfare then, how awful it was.
Do you think that didn't that bad flu happen around the same time as World War One? That bad Spanish flu or whatever they had back then? Didn't that happen right around the same time?
I'm not sure of the timing on that. But I do think some of it is chemical involved.
Did they do anything when you were in the service, when you World War II, besides the bomb in Japan?
Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. We didn't always know what was going on. It wasn't our duty to know to just do it. I don't remember handling chemicals, no.
And you don't think you were exposed to any?
Yes, I think I was. I think when they bombed the various islands in their plans to invade Japan, one of those islands was Mont Superior, and that's where they did the experiment with the bomb before they dropped it on Japan. And I think that had to do with why it could never bear children. It neutralized it.
You couldn't have kids, or Grandma couldn't have kids?
No, she couldn't because my seed wasn't viable.
This is the very first time I'm hearing. I thought it was all Grandma because of her getting hit by a car.
That was part of it too, but otherwise, she had some miscarriages, but that was because of that.
What? Whoa! 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 Stop right there, Grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma was pregnant?
She was.
What? Whoa! Okay, this is earth-shattering.
Well,
because we never thought
But the fact that she couldn't carry it through, why she couldn't bear children.
And so when I had my 2 stillbirths, that's why she was so extra tore up then.
Well, it probably has effect. Yep.
Okay, so
I
now
think
things are clicking into place a little bit, making more sense to me because I couldn't understand why grandma was so upset. I mean, yeah, it was dead babies, but I never understood that. I didn't know that.
I don't think that would apply because biologically we had no relationship. You were adopted.
I know, but it still would trigger stuff for her, like
Oh, it
memories
could,
and
it could,
stuff.
sure. Well, there are a lot of people who were neutralized in the military because they're involved in when they dropped the nuclear, before they dropped it on Japan. Those islands were devastated. We had touching some of those islands from time to time. So there was a belief that many were neutralized because of it. Your seed was not viable.
Wow.
That was one of the questions, one of the things I thought when I had my evaluation in collecting benefits because of possible damages in World War II. That was one of the things that was evaluated. And it was never proven one way or the other, but there was a distinct possibility. And there were many who were neutralized because of that, handling the nuclear stuff. And that's why when you bring the question of nuclear warfare or chemical warfare, it's about the same. How many of these polio, for example, where did that come from?
And why do we have so many autistic people? You know,
Good question.
I mean, in the history of man, I do not know of so many people with autism, with gluten intolerance, with all these, ADHD. There has never, I am thoroughly convinced that it's because of all this medical crap that's come out within the last 100 years that has contributed to it. In the guise in the sheep's clothing of vaccines.
That's why when they came out with
That's why I don't trust vaccines and why I don't trust the medical community very much.
That's why when they came out here and said you have to be vaccinated, and everybody was, I said no, not until I talked with my doctor.
But of course, your doctor's going to tell you to do it.
They did, yeah. But anyway,
They're all trained in the same brainwashy stuff.
I probably told you this before too, but in boot camp, when boot camp was over near the end, we all got, my company I was in, we all got vaccinated because they thought we were going overseas to be protected against all kinds of stuff. And in that company, at that vaccination, that's what Sarah's husband.
That's what
Sarah's
that's what Uncle Carl died of.
That's right. It was vaccine.
That's why I didn't want to get the vaccine either.
Yeah, it was vaccine that had been live serum, and it was not supposed to be. And I was a part of that company.
You very well could have gotten off too.
I was hospitalized for about 4 days. Part of that I couldn't do. I couldn't do the work in the kitchen, like cleaning dishes and all that kind of stuff. But that company, about a third of that company never made it. They died.
And then people question me and make fun of me for not trusting the medical community. Well, excuse the hell out of me. I had a relative die because of the medical community. Excuse the hell out of me.
Well, that's what I told these folks too.
Pardon me if I don't trust the medical community.
No, not exactly.
I trust them to a point, but stuff can happen, and especially when it's rushed. So pardon me.
Both vaccines, but He wondered about the booster, and I said, no, I've had enough. You've had the vaccine, haven't you?
Not that I'll admit to anybody.
No. But if it's a work requirement, that's another thing. It should not be a work requirement.
No, it should not. It should be
That's
up to
an
everybody's
invasion of your
decision.
freedom to say yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I told them here, but I was kind of almost treated like I had leprosy or something.
Oh, I know. Everybody was. Even out in the, you were treated like a second-class citizen, and that was bullshit. And I just made sure to rub their nose in it, and I made sure that they knew that I knew.
Yeah.
I made sure I would mention it. I would actually say, oh, second-class citizen, huh?
Mhm.
Fuck you.
But on the other hand, vaccine has done a lot of good. The polio vaccine, it was troublesome. You asked Janet Bullard about the polio vaccine. Her mom got it. She had all kinds of problems after that.
Mm-hmm.
They had another name for it, but, and she suffered it all through life.
Yep. There's just too many people that I've known that has gotten vaccines and they've never been normal ever since. They've never been the same since. Do you remember when I worked at Dr. McCants?
Yeah.
There was a family. They had a newborn baby. Healthiest kid, who was chubby and, eating good. Next thing you know, they're bringing in the baby, and the baby had lost 3 pounds, wasn't eating, and was now like, they got the next set of vaccines that the baby has to have, after like 3 months or so. Baby was mentally retarded after that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've lost well over 10 pounds.
I keep losing hair. Look at this.
And I've lost it around the waist. Too.
Look at all that.
Yeah, what about it?
That's all hair out of my head.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's just been since I've gotten the shot. About 2 weeks after I had my first one, I pulled out a massive wad. I thought I had a bald spot. And this is like all the time. I can just run my finger through my hair and pull out a great big wad like that.
Oh my.
All the time.
That didn't happen to me. It just disappeared. And now I can't. It looks awful, doesn't it?
Just look like Albert Einstein, that's all. And you could look like a worse person. I mean,
on Fridays, there's supposed to be, the lady comes. And I've been on the call list on Fridays for, 3 weeks or more. And it never comes up. When I was in the other apartment, she was just a hop, skip, and a jump away. And I got about once every 2 months at least, I got a haircut. She'd come and get me. But now I don't even know where she operates. This is a different unit, so it's separate.
What was the naughtiest thing that you remember doing as a kid and your mom getting mad at you for?
Well, it was probably a Halloween trip where we tipped over some toilets.
What?
Outdoor toilets.
You did what?
We tipped out the outdoor toilet. You didn't have it. Everybody had an outhouse. We tipped it over.
Who is we?
Well, Gene Jert and somebody else, a couple of us. And somebody stepped into it and fell into the pit. And that caused a little anger. And also we assisted, took a wagon apart and put it up on the top of a barn.
Hold on.
Yeah. But what I didn't think of Gene Jert did, or Garrett Cook. We were all about the same age.
Oh my God.
Oh, and then there was Tony Zendley. There were 4 of us.
Oh my God.
One didn't think of, the other did.
Wow. Okay.
And we were cousins, of course.
Okay. Tell me about when you were in Chicago and you had to take care of June.
Oh, that. Yeah. Well, of course, I was invited to come to Chicago, and I came and I lived with. I lived with Lorraine and Barney in their apartment, and June was part of it. So Lorraine worked, Barney would work part of the time. When I was available, I would take care of June. Well, Barney was not able to get into the military, but they assigned him in a construction area in the Aleutian Islands. The Aleutian Islands was close to Russia, just across. It was all in the Sea
Yeah.
Belt. So he was stationed over there for well over a year. He was not in the military; he was a civilian. But that was the duty. Well, when he moved up, was assigned up there, Lorraine couldn't take care of June alone by herself and work. So they decided, Lorraine decided that June should go back and be with the grandma, Barney's mom and dad. They lived in, can't remember the name of the town. There was a little town there,
Gray Eagle?
yeah, near Greenville. So I said, okay, I'm going to, whoop,
Lost your hearing aid.
where did it go?
Right here.
Just lay it up there. That's another thing, it keeps falling out. So anyway, I said, okay, I'll take her down by train. We'll go down, I'll deliver her there. So I did.
How long did it take you? Was a train ride?
No, we had to change stations in Chicago and in Minneapolis. So I did it most in the evening. Now when she had a diaper call, there was a lady or somebody that felt sorry for me. They thought that my wife had died and I was trying to take care of the little one. So they do the job for me. And the same way when we were transferring in one of the stations, the Chicago station was a mess. This one lady said, I'll stay right with you, I'll make sure you're okay. So during that time, must have been a couple hours delay or whatever. Same way in Minneapolis. I remember when I delivered them to Barney's mom and dad, what a relief I was. They couldn't believe it either. But that was it. That was my life. June and I were always close after that, always. We still are. I hear from her from time to time. I don't know. Did you know Joseph, her son?
Oh yeah, Joey? Yeah.
Well, he lost his eyesight.
Oh yeah, I know.
He has not regained it. I don't hear from June very often anymore. You knew Karen too, I assume.
I knew them all.
I used to talk with Karen once in a while. Of course, Herb passed away, and her son, one of her sons, has passed away as well. And so she's pretty lonely lady. She has a beautiful home in Hudson, Wisconsin.
I think we were there one time.
Yeah, right.
And I think I got lost going to their bathroom, and she had to come find me, if I remember correctly.
You could swing over the lake.
Well, there was one in somebody that lived in town, and or someplace. It wasn't by a lake, but I remember getting lost in their house and them having to come find me. I'm like, I was sitting in a hallway, just kind of like going, okay, I better not move because they won't find me otherwise.
Probably was Karen and Herb. They had a big home.
I remember, because I remember I had to go to the bathroom, and they said it was down this hallway or something, and I got lost. There was stairs involved and a hallway, and I remember getting lost
Yeah.
on the way back.
That was near the town of Alexandria.
So I just kind of sat in the hallway until somebody came to find me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was told, I remember being told for some reason, for something, if you ever get lost, don't move, stay put, and someone should be able to come find you. So that's what I did. I just sat down in the hallway and waited till someone came and got
Let's
me.
see, there was June and Karen and Joan. Joan was the younger one. She married Russ.
And didn't one of them live in Africa for a while?
Oh, that was her, but that was Karen's husband.
Mm-hmm.
He worked for the 3M Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
We always talked about that. They had 3 sons.
I know they would pick on me when I was little,
Yeah.
but I can see why, because I was a pest.
Philip was the one we'd go visit. I think that was one.
Philip was Diane's.
Yeah.
Philip was the one that we threw down the laundry chute.
Yeah, yeah. And they lived out in the country somewhere. Or Wadena, near Wadena.
Because I remember going to one of them's house also, like you said, that was by water. They had a tire swing that went out there.
That was Joan.
And I remember being a pest to the boys to the point where they got their little BB guns out and shot me in the butt with the BB gun to get me to go away.
That was Joan and Russ, yeah.
I remember that.
They got divorced.
But okay, I'm going to stop this now.